President Trump addressing the nation tonight as the administration signals that an end to the war in Iran is just weeks away. This all comes just hours after the commander-in-chief gave an update on the results of Operation Epic Fury.
We had regime change already. We've knocked out one regime, then we knocked out the second regime. Now, regime change was not one of the things I had as a goal. I had one goal. They will have no nuclear weapon. And that goal has been attained. They will not have nuclear weapons.
Meantime, right now, officials are working to secure the release of an American journalist, Shelley Kittleson, believed to be kidnapped by an Iran-backed group in Baghdad. Fox News contributor and former CIA station chief Dan Hoffman joins me now. Dan, let's start with what the president said. Are you confident that 2 to 3 weeks is enough time to accomplish what we need to accomplish before we leave, in light of the fact that this is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to neuter Iran once and for all?
Yeah, I think that remains to be seen. Look, our goals have been pretty clear. It's to destroy Iran's defense industrial base, their ballistic missile program, the drone program, their navy, to destroy what's left of the nuclear program, somehow to gain control of the roughly 1,000 pounds of enriched uranium as well. Now we have to add to that dealing with the Strait of Hormuz. But those are all the things I think that the president will need to accomplish before we get out. You're right. Once we end the war, we don't want to have to go back in 6 months or a year. The president alluded to that yesterday. We don't want to have to, as the Israelis like to say, mow the grass and dig up the weeds again. We want to deal with this once and for all.
What does this timeline mean for U.S. troops potentially on the ground in Iran? Because when you hear 2 to 3 weeks, that does not give a lot of time to put our troops in an enemy combatant country and then pull them out.
Yeah, I think, look, that the message to our troops is pretty clear. We've sent the 82nd Airborne Marine Expeditionary Force, the 75th Ranger Detachment. We've got the George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier. We've got a lot of military assets in place. And I think what the administration might be doing is thinking about last strikes that could produce the damage that we want on Iran's defense capabilities, on their security establishment, those targets that matter so much before we come to a deal that will end this war.
As for the kidnapped journalist, State Department said they warned this individual not to go. This individual went regardless of all of that. Is this a one-off, or is this part of a strategy that Iran is utilizing to influence this war?
Look, we always tell our journalists, American citizens, to avoid war conflicts like this one, and where they're going to be putting themselves at grave risk. I really understand that journalists, that's by their very nature, it's what they do. We know at Fox News how our journalists have done that. Intrepid, brave journalists like Ben Hall. But in this case, what we'll be doing, I'm quite sure, is using our intelligence resources. I've done that at CIA to try to track down and find our journalists, conduct negotiations where and if that's possible, and do everything we can to find this journalist and bring her out safely. But it's extraordinarily difficult.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting you. Obviously, a lot of the focus now is going to be on this. But before we let you go, big picture, coming out of this war whenever it ends, this administration is not happy with NATO. We asked for help. NATO did not provide it. The president telling The Telegraph he is strongly considering pulling out of NATO. Secretary of State Marco Rubio echoing similar sentiments. Listen.
I've been one of the strongest defenders of NATO during my time as a United States Senator because I found great value in it. But when we need their help, not their help, we're not asking them to conduct airstrikes. When we need them to allow us to use their military bases, their answer is no. But I do think, unfortunately, we are going to have to re-examine whether or not this alliance that has served this country well for a while is still serving that purpose, or is it now become a one-way street where America is simply in a position to defend Europe.
Is that where this is headed, Dan? The United States leaving NATO? And if so, what about NATO, if anything, survives?
Look, I hope that's not the case, and we need to stop airing our differences publicly. That only helps our adversaries like Russia, which we're trying to deter Russia. I think what we need is a NATO summit behind the scenes. We need to discuss some of these tensions. Look, the NATO members will argue the United States didn't consult them before our attacks on Iran. And we will argue that NATO members were slow to come to our assistance when asked to do some things to help us in the war, to prosecute this war against Iran. So, look, both sides have issues we need to discuss, but best to do it privately. Let's leave the hyperbole out of this about leaving NATO. I don't think that's in the offing, and of course, Congress would be very much against that, and they've passed the law that makes it clear that we won't without their approval. It's a congressional treaty. So, look, hopefully we'll have a summit and solve some of these outstanding differences.
Dan Hoffman, we asked you about a lot of things. You answer them all, and we appreciate that.